All right, hello everybody and good morning. Let me move a lot of stuff out of the way. There we go. We're going to be getting into the Lei Feng Cup finals today. If you're joining us in the cast bright and early, I say good morning to you, as well as to you, Zombie Grub. How are you doing?
I'm okay.
That's good to hear. We are going to be casting what I'm hoping is INnoVation versus Dark, right?
Um, I assume we're gonna be casting everything, so
Oh, do they do all of them?
I don't know.
Is every match in round of 8 cast or all play same time? Because if we cast everything, that's fine by me. I'm ready for a long day, but I just don't want to miss INnoVation versus Dark.
Okay then.
And it looks
They
like they're all
fight.
going to play at the same time, so shouldn't be a problem.
What about after that?
It's double elimination. I imagine this probably plays out fast to an extent. Everything just plays as they're ready, apparently. So, yeah, there's no way we're not doing INnoVation versus Dark. Inno versus Dark, please. Do that in all really annoying caps. Anyways, getting invited to a party. That's got Dark in it. Nice. All right, so here's something I learned since last night's adventures. Apparently, the random disconnects are not, in fact, latency-based at all, but are for some reason happening to select accounts on the Battle.net. Blizzard followed this personal request up with also tweeting it from their customer support group. So, I'll explain. I learned it's not me, it's Blizzard, but they say if it happens, just use another account. Should fix. So I have my my Overwatch Smurf account. So hopefully, my fingers are crossed, we don't get kicked out of the games randomly. This was a suggested fix, by the way. This was not a guaranteed fix, and this was like an off-the-record fix type thing. So I'm really, truly hoping that we have no issues whatsoever. Excuse me, I was like, but if we do, supposedly swapping to my Smurf account should fix things.
Good news.
I think we tested this before, right? I can observe StarCraft from a non-StarCraft account, the trial version or whatever, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we did.
I remember vaguely doing that. I wasn't entirely sure. I mean, far be it from me. I would go out and spend the money on Legacy of Void right now if I had to. If it means casting INnoVation versus Dark, I'll pay that $40 ticket. Okay. We had that issue last week. It also said we needed to upgrade the game to Legacy of the Void. Yeah, it looks like Wardy's had his fair share of unfortunate issues lately too. I heard about that. Yeah, he was having trouble joining lobbies in Europe or something to that extent.
Yeah, he's been having trouble for a while.
Feels bad, man. There's like 8+ people in this party though. Looks like everybody wants to see INnoVation versus Dark. I'm not surprised. I will say though, there are other good games going on, like Zest versus Stats. Hello. If for some reason we couldn't do this, I would absolutely do that side of the bracket. There's some interesting setups here though. You've got Hero, Keen, and Hush on the top side, and then Jim. And a lot of people are asking like, why is Jim there? Because I guess like there's a combination of Bjorn and Kelazur, and there's like some forfeits that went on, so they had to replace them for these finals.
Oh. Well, Bjorn and Dark got out of that group, but I guess Bjorn and Kelazur both couldn't play because of WCA. They would have been there today.
Is that what's happening? I guess that would make sense. Yeah, they're flying around the world.
Yeah, I mean that's what I know. Again, I have no idea how like they worked out their potential visa issues, but I guess they did.
I mean, the lady who can't sign in for an online cup might be the only one who has the visa issues. I'm just saying. But yeah, so we're all in a party, and hopefully things get going, and hopefully it won't be too much issue. Again, like I said, though, if there are problems with my connection, I can just try swapping accounts, and hopefully that would fix things. No guarantees, though. Did you see, by the way, I played a little bit of co-op before we went live today?
No, I took a nap for about 45 minutes, and before that I was working on video stuff.
Nice. Well, I've gotten to this point where, with the co-op missions, I've figured out enough to carry up until the final push. And then at that point, it's really dependent on my allies or not. But as happened with 50 of the games prior that I streamed, I tried to play 2 before the Lei Feng Cup. And man, it's so obvious when somebody doesn't know how to play co-op. And I don't mind most of the time, but this week has been exceptionally brutal with the fact that the co-op missions are bugged. It's just like, okay, when the bugged part of the game kicks in, maybe the frustration also sets in. I get it, sure. When the guy can't handle the first 2 speed freak things that come to his base, that's where I'm just like, no, I'm leaving. I can't even.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's fair. Yeah, I don't.
It's been a tough week.
I don't want to try the mutation, TBH. I thought about it, and then when I learned that it was bugged, I was like, I don't care.
I actually think I know a way you and I can beat it. There's also, as I learned from the last 3 times this happened accidentally, there's actually a totally bugged way to beat any mutation on Brutal, but I'm not revealing it because if Blizzard's gonna keep putting out these bugs, I'm not gonna help them find them. That's my way of sticking it to the man.
Smart thinking.
But I really do want to beat this, like, genuinely on Brutal, and I do want to beat it while it's bugged to see if I'm man enough to do it, basically. But, anyways, we have the lobby going up. Map board has been picked. It's gonna be Daybreak into Echo into Whirlwind, so a pretty diverse map set. Also, I just want to point out for those watching, like, okay, Dark is one of the best Zerg players in the world. INnoVation is one of the best Terran players in the world. And I actually don't know much about Dark since BlizzCon, because you've actually been the only one casting him, as I've been missing for his games.
Oh, he kind of just slapped around.
Well,
like Dark or Killazir and Jam. That was lame.
Well, so the thing I was going to bring up, following up whatever you were going to say, was INnoVation has not been doing a lot of 3 Rax Reaper stuff. Even on his stream, like, he does it, but not like every single TVZ. So this could be an actually really fun ride of a series that isn't every game over in 4 minutes or less type thing.
Oh yeah, Beyond in fact 2-0 Dark. Also by not doing any Rex Reapers.
Well, I guess
Cringe still like it.
Well, they also do a very different version than we've seen other people doing. Discussing this before, like they usually use it strictly as an opener into like more macro styles of things. But as we get into the game, it's going to be loading into Daybreak for the first best of 3 today. Now, again, for those who didn't know what happened yesterday, I do want to just brace everybody. The game will go smooth. No frames will drop, and there's no latency to be had. Yet, for some reason, the game will just disconnect me randomly. So, if that happens, it shouldn't happen consistently. We did have, I guess, a plan B in terms of just using Zombie Grub's Skype screen share, but obviously that's not preferable. And, yeah, I hope we don't have to do that again. Anyways, let's hop into the match. Top right side here for the Lei Feng Cup Finals, we've got the blue Terran player, INnoVation.
God, is anyone casting any other ones? In the bottom left, as the red Zerg, he is Dark.
Let's look at the cast drop-down menu. I'm pretty sure that, yeah, it's full up.
Yeah, that's what I had to look at, right?
I really, truthfully, would not mind. Like, if it came down to it, Zest versus Stats would not be a bad alternative for me. I think I'd really like to see that PvP play out.
Yeah, that's what I was considering if they were like, no, there's too many people, and for some reason we got, like, last choice, but I guess they don't care. One's pretty totes cash, you know what I mean?
Totes cash. That's a great way to form it. Now, INnoVation has not shown indications of 3 racks. Big part of this is being that they're not on the low ground. And I like this. We talked a little bit about it beforehand. He's not a player who's been doing it a lot or consistently, and unfortunately, it's the first time I've not loved watching Terran play, is when 3 Rax Reapers are determining wins and losses before the game even really begins. So it's cool for me already that we're going to see this game play out more than what is just a bit of a cheesy opener.
The Beyond versus Dark games were actually super good, as far as I can remember. I had to, like, be kind of quiet, so I couldn't, like, scream and shout, but I remember, like, a lot of times where I really wanted to, because they were just, like, super, you know, tight and actually close. I mean, Dark's games versus Killazir were not so much. Kind of funny, Killazir did do his 3 rack shenanigans versus Dark, and Dark didn't care. So, I don't know what that says about, like, the other Zergs, I guess. But Dark just, like, if it wasn't a 3 Rax Reaper, I think it was a regular macro game, but like once I tried 3 Rax Reaper, he just like countered with like an all-in and like Killjoy couldn't do anything. So I don't know. More study is needed, but yeah. If it's not a 3x Reaper opener, then it does seem to be like really good TVZs back and forth, mutiling, bling type stuff.
Yeah, and actually that's a large part of what I'm looking forward to seeing. I want to see that micro coming out of INnoVation, and I want to see Dark going ham on those mutas, kind of like watching Rogue play in the IEM qualifiers. But regardless of what the combination is, one thing we have seen from even the lesser Zergs, regardless of the matchup, is that Hydras still play a pretty big part in the matchup right now. Or can, rather. I don't think a lot of Koreans are really inclined to do Roach Hydra versus Terran, but it's kind of gross watching it work when it does, because it looks so silly. It works too well.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
INnoVation following up with second barracks, by the way, not rushing out too much, but gonna get that stim up real quick. This could lead to one of these early pushes that he's been really aggressive with more recently, and that could be trouble for Dark. Big thing about this is the SCV and the Naturals can get picked off, but the Lings won't get to the main to scout. I think for Dark, it's not crazy to scout a second barracks, but it's certainly nice to know what your opponent's going timing-wise.
Yeah. I still think with the recent patch, there's still got to be some variety of builds, whereas like 6 months ago, you could just basically be like, oh, I didn't get a scout, I guess they're 2-1-1-ing. And up to like even a month ago, that was still like 80% of the games, even though people were starting to try and like do other things. New patch, I gotta figure it's reduced back down, but it's still a very common build, it seems like.
It really helped as well having somebody the game he played, so the world's looking up to him, and that's the only build he's doing.
Oh yeah, I mean it still works, right? Like everyone was like on the hype train for mech, and then they were on the scared train of like let's gotta go 3x super or nothing, or like some type of other weird hellbat push. Then people just realized no, 2-1-1 still really decent. So it doesn't surprise me at all to see INnoVation doing it. What has been surprising though is that like something got like wrong in the head of the Zergs, and I don't know what. But I have seen 3 different Zergs in 3 different situations just take way too much damage from what is a usual opener. It's like they forgot how to exactly deal with it. And it's been kind of weird. I'm not saying Dark's going to be the same guy, but I think even one of the games versus Beyond did a 2-1-1 where Dark almost lost the third base. And I was just like, well, that wasn't supposed to happen. But it almost did, so I don't know. Dark's actually getting so many Lings right now. I don't know if he's like... You only need like 20 to 30 to actually push this back, which I guess he's only getting 30. But along with the Baneling nest coming so quickly and still no upgrades, no evolution chambers, is he... I can't tell if he's like an all-in here or if he's just like holding off on melee upgrades for some other reason.
Well, 6 queens with a 7th on deck. I think he should be fine for stopping pushes in terms of picking off those medevacs. Just depends on if he's in the right spot at the right time. There's a good chunk of transfused energy almost ready to go as well, and plenty of creep being spread through those tumors, so Dark can just kind of hold on. Putting new tumors down could be actually very hurtful to him.
Yeah, not too useful. Well, he does have Banelings, so like there's definitely one thing that was happening was the Terran to bring the 3rd medevac in. With more Marines, there would be any Banelings, and they'd have like not quite enough Lings. So I guess that's what Dark was like ultimately preparing for. In doing so, he does delay his upgrades. Usually, like if they're doing the, I guess the old macro build, their upgrades are already like, well, they're like a minute in basically. INnoVation by going only for 1 engineering bay means that he won't have this huge lead, but it will be more even than other TVZs we've seen.
Well, we have Baneling speed finishing up. Quick reminder about the extra 10 health that adds onto the Banelings. Don't worry, folks. At some point, I will stop saying that, but we're still so fresh to the patch. I feel like it's more than warranted to have those 40 health Banelings pointed out. No Widowmines with this too. It's just Marines. So I mean, on one hand, he's easily able to pick all this up and fly away. On the other, there's no way to really drag back on top, and there's nowhere to retreat to. So I like the INnoVation. He's not committing to this. He sees the Banelings, he sees the Queens. It's just not worth losing anything over. I think he knows the damage he could get in best case scenarios wouldn't be worth it.
Yeah, this is definitely a safer way to play. And I guess Dark has just been the safest you could possibly be. I'm actually not even sure how much safer you could get other than like maybe adding in roaches, but I think actually just adding more Banelings, faster Baneling speed would be even safer. So he can safely get to Aspire. Again, like his upgrades would be like really quite good if he got them earlier, but that is, I guess, the danger he didn't want to play with. And I guess the 4th base also maybe could have been a little bit faster, but I would say as long as it actually gets up here, like it isn't denied 2-3 times, then it doesn't actually hurt him that much. Of course, having like all the gases already by the time you have Mutas out is like nice. He's still banking at 100.
Well, the Marine count's bulked up quite heavily, sitting on 41 outside the edge of the creep. INnoVation also, I guess it's worth pointing out, has been trying to clean up some tumors up to the north. Never really got to touch these ones to the south till just now, but picks off some of the live ones. Good start to this. Widowmine on that front line, but he's got to make sure he's spread. He's got to be on that edge of creep so he can get off of it ASAP. Picking off some of these banelings before they hatch, pretty nice to see. And of course, those tumors very low, but as he does come in, I think INnoVation splits are pretty darn good.
Woo!
70 army supply
really
now to 44, and Dark is in a lot of trouble.
I felt like that last half a second was like the plus 10 Baneling health right there. That
Right?
almost means.
Exactly.
That was a little too dangerous. Yeah, he's running out of Banelings, and that is like a huge problem. So his alternative solution to just trying to get more Banelings is to try and counterattack. He may have just flipped to the fence.
Yeah, the counterattack's not going to work. He's just not going to get through that wall in time. Marines there to guard through that rally. Push him to the top of the ramp. He's a little bit greedy, but he's got so many Marines and so many Widowmines. The Overseer's here, but there's nothing for it to really do. Marines going to pick all this off. They dodge away from those. Oh, Banelings, they try to escape. Nice hit out of that Widowmine.
Yeah, it helps the last little bit. INnoVation, even if he has to pick up here and leave, I mean, his Widowmines are going to get cleaned up, it seems like, because the Overseer got shot down, and his rally is going to come forward soon, and that's going to be the real kicker.
Yeah, there's like a floodgate of Marines. Like, there's like a kink in the hose for a while, right? The Marines had to stop and stay at home, and now he unkinks that hose, and a bunch of Marines coming across the map. Widowmines get picked up too. He salvages everything here on the front lines, but I mean, make no mistake, guys, Dark is on 28 army supply, and it's pretty much all purely Lings. There's a very small amount of Banelings actually played out right now. They're going to roll into some of the Marines to the south side, but not nearly getting enough hits. Not even the Widowmine went down, and it soaked the damage.
Yeah. Usually killing 3 Widowmines would have been pretty good, but I think it's just like, you need to kill a lot of everything to get back into the position for Dark.
What's even worse is Dark had so many queens, yet almost none of medevacs. Like, in fact, no medevac has died this game. So INnoVation's sitting here with an abnormally large amount of 11 medevacs. This should not be a thing. Yeah, that spread's too good, and that's not going to cut it for Dark. None of the Widowmines even went off, by the way. You can run back over them if you'd like. I guess it is worth noting a good chunk of INnoVation's supply is in medevacs, and that's why he's not exactly winning the game so quickly, but finally does force the GG as he takes game number 1.
Okay. Not exactly what I was expecting. There's such a good back and forth in the last TVZ that I watched. INnoVation still kind of just pushed Dark aside. And it wasn't that he did anything super fancy, or they just like macroed really well.
Yeah. Apparently, by the way, I keep forgetting, Sue has been like a streaming madman. Like, Sue is like the Zerg Beyond of streamers, and he's been streaming for like long sessions. He's been streaming to both Afrika and Twitch. And checking Twitter, Artosis is saying he's got Sue on one screen, INnoVation versus Dark on the other for BaseTradeTV, luckiest man on earth. And like, that's, again, I know there's no way to make people happy about Pro League disappearing. There's just not, it sucks, and there's no other description of it than that. But it's still cool to see things like Sue being allowed to, I guess, fulfill his dream of streaming all the time, like having INnoVation and Dark casually play in any event they'd like to now. Like, okay, maybe it's only going to be for a month, but I'm going to embrace this month. This is like the greatest month of StarCraft in 2016, in my honest opinion.
I was going to say, some of the players might really have like wished to have streamed, and some might just be like naturally good at it and actually like it, even if they weren't expecting to. But I also feel like just like watching like the guys go over to Brood War and being like, look, they really keep up a streaming schedule, especially if they're not the most popular guy anymore. So many of them do. Yeah. Like they're not like they don't have to be the greatest streamers. They just like okay, I'm gonna practice today, so I'm just gonna turn on my stream today.
I am curious what the holdup was too. Like, was it the coaches were just afraid that they would give a strategy? Were they concerned that who's not joining this, by the way? We're 9 out of 10 for joining this lobby.
I got it. I get it.
Anyways, sorry, I was just gonna say, like, maybe it's the concern that they're gonna give away too much strategy, or maybe that they'd use too much bandwidth in the house up. I don't know. Either way, I'm just like, I'm trying to find the silver lining here, guys, and I'm just really glad we got a lot of these guys streaming and like fulfilling their dreams or whatever. Solar joining Splice, I know, is really cool. I talked to Solar actually specifically at BlizzCon about, like, you know, for players like him who have some renown to them, they're not the top Zerg player in the world, but they are among the top Zerg players in the world. he's a lot less concerned about prize money and a lot more concerned with just traveling. You know, getting to go to events in the foreign countries or just having a foreign sponsor help him get out of Korea once in a while. Like, so there's some positives, guys. There's quite a few of them.
Yeah.
Also, I'm really curious if Splice is just going to be, if this will be like, we've had teams pick up one or two, like Yoda and others and stuff in the past, but I'm wondering if Splice will actually invest in others or if it's just solar and only solar.
Time can tell, I guess.
I actually, up until I'd say 7 months ago, didn't know what Splice was, but they're a fairly large organization.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, loading into Echo for game 2. Pergstream says, just did the mutation after 3 days of trying. Vorzen time stop and DT plus Zagera mass bailing to push mass stack defense to defend against the aberrations. Man, those of you guys who are finding success in the co-op mission this week for the brutal mutation, I hate you and keep it to yourself. No, I'm just kidding. Congratulations on finally beating it. I'm very salty right now. This is like more salty than I've been in a very long time about co-op, but more on that later. We're getting into game number 2. Spawning in the bottom right side of the map, we got the blue Terran player. It's none other than INnoVation.
In the top left, there's the red Zerg. He is dark.
So there was actually, I think these two played each other. Oh no, maybe it was Beyond versus Dark. No, it was Beyond versus Dark played each other, and it was like really hyped the other day because it was both on streams and it was like not a tournament setting, just ladder. And just continuing with our previous conversation, I love, like, again, INnoVation streaming like crazy. Although, what is his Twitch ID? It's like DTLSRJJ4 or something
It's
weird.
Korean for his name, I think.
I know, but regardless, we can't get enough of these guys. So my concern is WCS plans get announced and then everyone goes back into like recluse mode. I hope that doesn't happen though. I really truly don't. Because I think if you really want to bring some life back to StarCraft on Twitch right now, you got to get some awesome player streams. I think Heroes actually suffers from a bit of this too, where a lot of the players in Heroes don't stream or don't want to stream. So the overall viewership, I think, gets a little bit low when tournaments aren't on and about. I mean, I can't say that's a fix, but I would love to see over the next like 4 months of Twitch, if all these Koreans kept streaming and if all the people kept tuning in for like the hype of INnoVation streaming, like, does that breathe a little bit of life back into it? I think it might.
The last time we had a serious conversation about streamers was like 3 years ago, I want to say.
Yeah.
It was basically back when the whole issue of no room for anything else was one of the biggest problems. And initially, I think it was like there were so many tournaments still, like even MLG was running a couple of tournaments, and people were like, what about the streamers? But then it became like even the tournaments were like, well, what about this tournament, next tournament, that tournament?
Yeah, what about us?
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
There's a fair question being asked in chat by the man himself. He says, "Is the entire Renovate bracket being played on stream?" I wish, man. I wish. Zest versus Stats. Are you kidding me? The winner plays this series at least, but all the games are being played out simultaneously, from what I understand, until the winners finals and the losers finals and the grand finals. I think those are all streamlined, from what I understand, but we'll find out as time goes on. I do know that the round of 8 though is playing out all at the same time, so the other matches are currently going on, and I'm pretty sure nobody's covering them because everyone wanted to see Dark versus INnoVation.
One person that's like seriously about PvP is like, I'm here, guys. Zest versus whatever the guy is.
I'll tell you what, if Emil was streaming, there's a Polish player, he'd be all over that. He would be the one guy in the universe to give up, I think, and switch over. Shout out to Emil. Okay. We got Overlord Speed coming out again. Dark did this first game, and I guess we didn't really go over it too much because you got the scouting pretty quick, but with scouting being more and more important in this matchup, not because you're worried about looking for mech, but just knowing timings on things, I like that he's going for it. The funny thing is, though, INnoVation, kind of a little bit like the way we saw Zest and even Hero playing yesterday, he's probably going to do the same builds all the time, always. Scouting becomes like less, I guess, a necessity.
Yeah. Especially for a guy like INnoVation, it's not too surprising. I mean, Beyond was technically even surprising that he chose one build and stuck with it, even though he like mastered the build and it made sense. It was so like, well, Beyond used to be like, you know, a big like, I'm going to try everything kind of player. Like a lot of him and like I guess the guys on Prime, and then I guess they went to Janair and Marine Kings was totally different. But the point is, like him and Mario, I felt like could do a lot of different things, and then Beyond just kind of like stuck to one build and Legacy of the Void, the 2-1-1 that we see here. But INnoVation has always been, I guess, that less entertaining player, his entertainment comes from just like how perfect his
Well,
builds are. He doesn't actually go for like the free Rex Reapers, the Hellbat all-ins, the fake third CC.
so that's the thing, though, right? I'm actually okay watching a more boring slash standard player when it comes to the micro and you just see it be off the charts insanely good. But when you have players who do the same build all the time, always, but they're like finishing semifinals, round of 8 because like their controls like so-so, those are the games I actually don't find that entertaining. But INnoVation, well, having that sort of, I guess, negative drawback to them, it's fantastic in the micro.
Yeah. No, I love watching INnoVation. I think a lot of people would say that they love watching them because it's like just like pure like fear. Like you see nothing like last game. Dark really didn't do too much wrong, and yet INnoVation was just like, okay, I'm gonna win now. So it's always like impressive to see that.
Well, looking for this push. The rocks aren't down. That might be a bit of an issue. The Queen's on the front line without a lot of energy. Transfuses aren't going to be an option. One goes down. No focus fire on the medevac. The Marines just stutter down the links, and you kind of like, Dark, what's going on, man?
Yeah, a little bit. Dark did not go for like that faster Baneling Nest. He went for the bit faster upgrades, which I was like talking about last game. He started in like 6 minutes, then he started in like 5. That's like what was been usual. So this means that this follow-up medevac pairing up with all the other medevacs like might actually do a lot of damage. Because last time Dark was like, no, I have Banelings, you can't do anything. But now it is just Lings and Queens. INnoVation might be able to snipe quite a few units.
Coming in for another pickoff. The Queen with the energy is the one being focused down. He steps away from the Lings, and there's just not enough Lings. There's no Banelings. There's no way to take out these Marines. INnoVation's control is pretty perfect. He's only losing very, very few Marines to this push. Medevacs still aren't being focused down, and the Queens are just being cherry-picked one at a time.
I don't know why Dark wasn't target firing the medevacs with like
Started
6
to at the
queens.
very
He would've killed
end.
2 of them pretty quickly.
Right? Like, this seems like a big mistake. It's something that's, like, far below somebody like Dark, too.
I
But
guess he really thought the DPS of the Marines would have been better, because like it took so long, it had to have been intentional. I don't know.
God, INnoVation left with 4 Marines standing, but he's going to kill Dark with 4 Marines if he doesn't clean them up soon. Medevacs are about out of juice, so he picks up to fly out of there. But look at the resources lost. INnoVation actually doubling the effectiveness as far as what was killed.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good. The only downside, or rather the upside for Dark, is that he does have those kind of baller upgrades that I was talking about. But because he has to replace so much army and so many queens, he's not really getting that huge jump start on 2-2. So it's not, it's again like not even that huge boost he might have had if he had defended that perfectly.
I think, well, so losing a lot of queens is really unfortunate for a lot of different reasons, but the number one being the actual just mineral sink in that. That could have been a 4th base. That could have been a 4th base and this macro hatchery, you know? Like, Dark had, how many queens was it actually? He lost 6. Oh my god, that's so expensive. The follow-up push coming out of INnoVation, it's gonna be it's gonna have a Widow Mine or 2 with it. Maybe they get some lucky hits. There is gonna be a little bit of luck involved with this one. But with so few queens, there's really not a lot to reach past the Marines, to reach over the Widow Mines and shoot those medevacs. One of the front line gets sniped off immediately. Bailey's coming. He's gonna try and pick up. Bit of a, I'm never gonna call that miscontrol, but INnoVation was out of position with the medevacs, so they couldn't reach the Marines in time.
Yeah, he was a little too bold of them for sure, going to like creep like that. But he still has round 2 and 3 and 4, and he's going to continue pressuring as long as he can on the edge of creep. And whenever he feels, you know, like he can actually push even further, he definitely will.
Oh, that Overseer out of Dark was amazing. I'm not sure if that was on purpose or by accident, but the splash of the Widow Mine hit actually every single one of INnoVation's units, including all the medevacs.
Yeah, that was not the friendliest Widow Mine. So Dark's going to go for the fast hive this game as opposed to trying to get the Spire.
Counterpoint, it may have been the friendliest of Widow Mine in regards to friendly fire.
Yeah, okay, you got me. There you go.
Let me hug you with my bomb. Alright, well, more Widow Mines coming, and hopefully these guys are a little bit less scumbag than the rest, but it's not that many Banelings here. And he's pretty close to the off the edge of creep. I don't think, as long as INnoVation doesn't go too far in, he doesn't overreach, he should be fine. Other side of the map, there's a counterattack coming in. The wall's down. It's concerning. Tacos, though, on this front side. Widow Mines don't go off on the best targets, but they do trade up pretty well with the Banelings. Picks up with the Marines. A lot still standing from this fight.
Yeah.
And he's going to meet up with the rest of his army, and he should be good to push again. The problem for Dark is he's really just starting to fall behind that army supply. Reaching for the hive, I think, is a great idea if you can get there, but I don't know if he's going to get there with a decent army supply. Even if you get to Ultras, they're no good if you don't have the proper support for them.
20 army supply down is really not so bad for the Zerg. It seems to be kind of where they're used to being. unless they're starting to swamp with Needling Bling a little bit later on. So as long as he takes engagements on creep and take like terrible Widowmine hits, I actually think that Dark would have been okay. But it's always like that struggle, and like anytime he's without Banelings, INnoVation could just pounce and like significantly decrease that army supply.
You know, another part of this, you brought up the, and I'm going to quote you here, baller upgrades earlier out of Dark. He's still sitting on this nice 2-2 over 1-1. Plus 2 weapons is about to finish, but he's going to be behind on those armor upgrades for some time. Fungal Growth looking pretty nice. Might catch some of the Medivacs boosts away as fast as he can. Widowmines go off on useless targets, and INnoVation's front line's looking a lot weaker than it was a few seconds ago.
Yeah. This actually is looking not quite like a winnable position. Like no one's won yet, no one's really close to winning either. But INnoVation is going to have to make a decision he didn't have to bother with last game, which is what he's going to do about the late game. If Ultras do come out, like is he going to be stuck on 3 bases and nothing but like Marines? Because that has happened to the hyper-aggressive 3-base Terrans before.
Banelin's looking to get these connects, falls back, doesn't want to use too many. I think he's worried about where those Widowmines are. It looks almost...
there's like...
Oh, big counter
huge counter. Yeah, the supply depot was down.
Well,
a lot of Marines, though, it makes this not so bad.
Yeah, I thought what was kind of funny there on the front lines, though, I think INnoVation was mistakenly or accidentally baiting Dark. Like, Dark didn't realize it was just so few units. He thought that they're just spread waiting for baits, but I think that's part of why that was a little bit awkward. INnoVation does have, as you point out, though, a lot of Marines back at home, ready to go for the next round, and Ultras are still not going to be out just yet. The Cavern's only finishing up, and Dark doesn't really have enough bank to get more than maybe 2?
Yeah, that is true. Like, 2 isn't that scary, something that INnoVation can deal with, but if he plays the defensive game, stays on creep, then it'll quickly become 3, 4, 5, and then that's where INnoVation is really he's in a dangerous position. He doesn't have a response to Ultras yet.
Spread there wasn't too bad. Eats a lot of the Banelings. A couple more going to roll in on that front line. Widowmine's not burrowed just yet. They get some decent hits on the backside, but INnoVation's already out of Marines. Pulling back from this isn't so hot, though, because while we've seen players play against Ultras with Marauders, sure, Liberators, sure, not necessarily with pure Marine and Widowmine, which is what INnoVation's still making at this point.
Yeah,
that's the
also
main base floated over. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he just, it's always weird to say that it's an all-in on 3 bases when it's like such a long game, but it's kind of the situation. Like when you see them lift that main command center, even though it's like technically like, well, they have a fresh new base, like what's the big deal? It's really not a great sign. And the only benefit INnoVation has here is his +3 weapons, but that won't actually hold up against Dark on 5 bases with Ultras.
Well, the SCVs go back to mining. This was a little bit of a scare, but it did bring INnoVation's army back home, most notably. Not many workers actually die for it. Let's see here. Has INnoVation actually only killed 1 drone over the course of this game? I guess it's not really been drops, and it's all been frontline attacks.
Surprised me. Yeah, I mean, the one time he got into the mineral line, it was for like a second, and then he had to pick up, so... Not touching Dark's economy much at all. And he is... This is kind of the last push. Like, if the Ultra count gets above 2, there's just not anything he can do, and even with 2, I don't think there's anything he can do. Their armor slots are even.
I mean, INnoVation did manage to pull ahead a little bit here in terms of upgrades, but I don't think it's the lack of 3-3 that's going to be hurting Dark anytime soon. He's got that guy in his plating. Ultras on that front line going to chomp down those Marines and send INnoVation packing. While this goes on, I mean, there's really just not a lot INnoVation could do, right? Like, he doesn't have the appropriate amount of tech labs. He doesn't have a second starport. He's not making a lot of Liberators. So, at this point, it might just be about trying to get around the army and not fighting it head on.
That is going to be hard to do. I mean, if he started that, like, 2 minutes ago, dropping everywhere while processing, you know, fourth base and more Liberators, then sure, like, that can happen. But starting now, and with apparently still no way of getting to a second starport or Liberators at all, like, it's just going to be, I think, useless. Like, he might cause a base trade, but then one that he would absolutely lose.
Looks like all the Marines in this drop got cleaned up, so it's just an empty medevac for the time being. Running south, running left. Top side still got a lot of queens with a lot of transfusers for those Ultras, so little bits of harass aren't going to cut it. There's almost no position INnoVation takes where, unless he's dedicating, he's going to get much damage done. I mean, even this one Ultralisk, as we can see, takes quite a few hits.
One Ultra alone, I guess, yeah, enough Marines. But even a couple of Banelings gave INnoVation so much trouble there.
Okay, so here's the question, right, Zombie Grub? Why don't they make buildings out of whatever Ultras are made out of?
Why don't they just make the entire airplane out of the thing they make?
The black box, yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
Oh, there's some burrowed banelings, by the way. This is going to be kind of cool. We'll keep an eye on whether those come into effect or not. He's actually got some trapping on the backside. Not quite going to catch INnoVation, but I didn't see Dark actually research burrow, but it's cool to see that he's got that in play and he's ready to try and use some of these landmines.
I noticed it, but I thought for sure it'd be for the infestors. But the...
Oh yeah, the burrow infestor casting now, yeah. Other side of the map, though, no burrow tactics necessary. Ultra is just kind of an A move.
The Marines are doing like an okay job again against like solo ultras, and I guess so. But...
I think the important thing to note here too is these Marines are actually dealing not terrible damage to the Ultralisks, keeping it with 9 damage a shot versus the Ultra's 6 armor. It's very different than the 1 damage they would do before in the past.
I'm a little surprised Dark hasn't gone for the +3 Carapace, considering that he got a Spire and he's banking a little bit now. He might legitimately still be scared of INnoVation.
Uh-oh. Did he see those Banelings burrow? That's a big question. Nope. INnoVation attacking the left side while this goes on. Dark waiting to get that Baneling hits, man. Freaking tastic. The Fungal Growth came down to lock him on top of it. Hatchery dies for this, but INnoVation's losing all chance at reinforcement. This is a lot of his money going to go down to once that base gets breached.
Though, if Dark makes the mistake of only attacking with his Ultras in a Sim City, that is a very classic way for Reserve to lose a 1 game.
Yeah. More Banelings, of course, are burrowed. Fungal Growth goes down so the Ultras can chomp them, so no need for the Baneling hits just yet. Left side, I mean, this really is funny if you have 1 Ultralisk at home. Like, this really isn't that many Marines. Right? It's a lot of medevacs, no drops, there's nothing within the set drops.
If Dark loses this, then it's absolutely his fault. I mean, INnoVation, like, impressive stuff, too, right? But now I think I should, like, totally blame Dark. I still don't think it's going to happen. So those even if he is down in army supply now. He's got so many tricks up his sleeve, too. He's got, like, Vipers on the way now, as well as all those burrow shenanigans.
This is straight up one of those, like, Yu-Gi-Oh moments. He's like, you've activated my trap card. I'm, like, waiting for him so badly to use these, but INnoVation's not rallying on top of them.
Yeah, unless he's cornered again, I guess there won't be much opportunity. They could just roll into the SCV mineral line if...
You know, honestly, just saving these for later could be worth it. Like, just not touching them. There's a game where we watched Snoop do that, where he didn't touch Banelings for 20 minutes and ended up winning the game because of it.
Yeah.
The one Ultra still hasn't died, by the way.
He's down 20 army supply, and I guess this one Ultra counts a lot, too, not helping on the other side. But the Fungal has so many medevacs.
So many.
Gonna kill him.
These are 18 medevacs!
Yeah, that
INnoVation,
is like
that's too many medevacs!
Reasons why the Marines are living, man. Imagine if they had any amount of Marauders in here. Like, I swear, if there's 10 Marauders instead of, like, 20 Marines, I wonder.
Yeah, okay, William Bros the Banelings. I absolutely agree. I think, like not even, like, 1 barracks worth of, like, where's the tech lab that he researched Stim with, right? Like, make Marauders out of that, maybe. But he kills another base out of Dark, and while a lot of emphasis went on the other side of the map, this might actually be on Dark to lose this game. Now, I do want to, before we get too excited here, it's like 35 Marines pushing. 93 army supply, that's 18 supply in medevac, or 18 medevacs worth of supply. That's actually not that great. A couple more fungals and these all die. A lot of them are in the red. Like, seriously, one or a parasitic bomb even. Yo, INnoVation or like, Dark, please. Oh god. Oh no, a parasitic bomb's gonna demolish this.
He's had a Spire too. Like, he could have had.
There it is. Goodbye, medevacs.
Okay, there we go.
That goes from 18 to 8, and they're still not done yet. 6, still dying 4.
But can he still win? Like, Dark is actually he's out of fungals.
He's out of money.
Burrowed Banelings.
If he keeps this base alive.
He recently got this base back up. The Ultras are being target fired.
Oh, where's the Blinding Cloud?
No Blinding Cloud. Pure Marine. Like, this should not happen.
God. INnoVation. I feel like I don't even want to praise INnoVation for this game. This is all on Dark. Like, he brought it back and like threw it away. He's actually out of money. There's no mineral patches at the remaining bases. He cannot build anything with 100 minerals. This one Ultralisk that's coming out is going to be his last Ultralisk that's coming out.
God, I don't even know if Ultras are worth it, but they're supposed to be against Marines, even if they're like slightly less upgraded.
Actually, so hold the phone for a sec. There's still a chance I actually can see here. It's a small one, but with all the medevacs having been killed and destroyed, fungal growths could wreck these Marines. Like, there are still 2 infestors. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's the potential for it to happen.
Well, I was gonna say that, yeah, Dark, he could go for burrowed Banelings instead of more Ultras or more burrowed infestors, and I think it'd be more worthwhile than that Ultra. And I also just want to say, like, Dark, who has had upgraded links the entire time, we have not really seen any counterattacks on these extra bases from INnoVation. He tried the main base, the 3rd base, the natural base, but the 4th base mined out completely, and the 5th base is now totally healthily mining for INnoVation. Seems like a big oversight.
If INnoVation, by the way, I guess, yeah, he's still mining. It's one base to no base is what the income comes down. It's one base to long distance mining is what the income comes down to.
Yeah. I'm not sure Dark's gonna believe how he lost this game either. Like, every single time he's taken an engagement, it's been against pure Marine and a couple of Widow Mines.
Right? There's no Liberators, especially, I think, is a big point. I do want to remind people, though, before this game is over, this is double elimination. There's a loser's bracket to fall to. So, if Dark goes down 0-2 to INnoVation, it's not over. He can still bring this back and go to those finals, but at this point, Dark, pull all your workers, baby. Do the Banleys, pull the boys, do what you need, do what you can. And he is rallying all the drones out for long distance mining. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, look at that range! Oh no! But the,
well, now it
okay.
So good.
My bad.
INnoVation still has a decent amount of scans too, which is like the worst thing.
He does get the fungals, but the splash damage isn't good enough. One ultra can't kill everything. He's gonna split. This is like playing keep away from the fat kid, man. It's not cool.
Who are we to doubt INnoVation and his Marines? I don't even know.
Well, that's it. Dark's hands are off the keyboard, probably. GG. Yo, okay, above all the mistakes that we could point out from Dark, I am really curious, though, sincerely, what the choice was there for no 3-3. There's several moments where he was floating above 700 minerals, 700 gas. Plenty of opportunity to actually get those upgrades.
Yeah, either upgrades or corruptors. Because I feel like if he had corruptors after his Spire finish, that was at like minute 13. There would have been no 17 medevacs healing 17 Marines to Invincible Life, too.
Exactly.
But I don't know. Just magic.
I hope you guys like INnoVation's TVZ, because we're probably now going to get a taste of his TVP. Next up, he plays the winner of Zest versus Stats. And you bet your bottom dollar we're going to be following this series. So I think Zest and Stats are still playing. I don't actually see them in the channel, so I'm going to assume that's the case. We're going to go to a commercial break, though, and we'll see you guys in a little bit with more of the Lei Feng Cup when we return.